Howdy, how y'all doing? Hope you guys can hear me today. Just set this up and put some new cables in and see if it's anyone can hear me. I guess Eddie's on here. Welcome, Eddie. If Alice is around, how you doing, Alice? Will, good to have you here. So hope you can see me and hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Howdy, 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 Sparkio. Good to hear from you. Hope you can hear me. He helped me with my audio, so I hope it's going. I'm using a Bumblebee, and he can probably tell you more about it. I hope you guys see me. Oh, there we go. Will G saying yes again. Let's see. Teach me about that into Mr. Yeah. So today, though I can't bring anybody up yet here on this particular software to have you guys join me, we're going to have a short live today, and we're going to talk about Mr. Paul. How you doing? Good to hear from you. We're going to talk about the GoPro a little bit. Some people have been asking me some questions because I use the GoPro a lot and how everything works there. And I'll take a couple of minutes before and let. Mr. Z, how you doing? I was just at your live for listening in for a few minutes. I couldn't chat a whole lot because I was playing around with the cables on here, but welcome on there. And so you can ask me any questions you want. I'll go ahead and read it and answer as many questions as I can. Today's subject matter is about the GoPro itself and how I use it in my videoing. I know Eddie has got one or was ready to get one, and I thought it might be kind of fun just to talk about it and see what you guys think about the quality that I'm getting out of that. Cruise Nuts, how you doing today? Hope everything's fine. So the GoPros that I really have that I'm going to talk about is I have two. I have three. I have another one that my daughter has. It's like a GoPro 5. I got a GoPro 8 right here and let's see if I can get it so focused in, a GoPro 10, and now they have a GoPro 11 here. And if I do a browse share, I should be able to pull up the 11 right here and talk about some of the things it might have versus what I have. There's not a whole lot difference between the 10 and the 11, and what I want to talk about is basically the film quality. Sparkio there has been helping me set up some sound, having microphones and walking around with microphones as I'm videoing, so it has a little bit better sound within my videos. There's a few things you worry about when you're doing these videos, and of course you guys are probably aware of it, and one is the picture quality. Make sure it's high enough quality to keep people's interest. How you doing, Alice? And the other one, Mike and Tracy, how you doing? I guess I already said hi to Cruise Nuts. So the other thing they have to deal with is how it sounds to the person when you get up, and you're going to more do to the masses on there. And if Sparky has any comments, kind of mention a little bit and say, yeah, this is what you should be doing. But let's go ahead and look at some of this. Here's the Hero 11 Black. Hero is just the name they gave it when they created it, thinking this is going to be a great hero to videoing action. So it's just a name that they came up with. Doesn't mean a whole lot. Black is basically a level of megapixels they have on the camera itself. And when I'm doing my videoing, I use the 8, and I use it for my underwater scenes. Both of them are waterproof, but this one I'm going to put a media mod on it, and then it doesn't become waterproof, it's just more like somewhat water resistance on there. Oh, that's great. Where did you do your videoing with Cruise Nuts? Where did you do that, Mike? Did you do it underwater or just where you're walking around? That's a good question to ask there. Now I know it can take a 500 gigabyte Z because I've used 500 on there. Right now I have a 400 gigabyte memory card. It gives me about 15 hours of videoing at 4K and about 12 with 5K. And I'll talk about what those mean in a minute. So 1 terabyte micro. I don't know. I'm not putting one in here. But I guess I should look at that. But CruiseNut says it takes can do a 1 terabyte micro SD card. I got the 400s because they're really cheap at Costco. So I bought quite a few of those. I can switch them in and out. And certainly a terabyte would give you twice as much as 15, so about 30 hours of video time on 4K. So that's a lot of time you can work with. Kind of brings it up. Normally the famous long 8-foot selfie stick. Yeah, I have a selfie stick, but I don't use it. And it's probably about a 4-foot one. So I don't use my selfie stick too much. But what I have bought was a Voltra. Let's pull that up here. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hold on a second. Have to find the right video here. If I go to oh, I lost the GoPro. Well, I lost the GoPro side on here, but this is a Voltra device that you can buy, and it gives you a lot more. Let's see if I can find it. OBS. I'm looking for OBS. Here we go. So this right here has a battery pack on it, very similar to the battery packs you might use to put on your phone to recharge the batteries and stuff. So I use one of these all the time on my 10. You can buy one for the 8. I just don't have one. But this one's great on this one because you can sync it up with Bluetooth, have a start and stop button right here when you're recording. So you can just use this button, click it on, click it off with the GoPro on there. And it can also charge your batteries. I said it's supposed to be around 5 hours, but I found it's more like 3.5 on there. Make sure the video stabilization is turned on when filming. Absolutely. And what he's talking about, when you turn one of these on here, and let's do the 10 here, and I'll talk about it in a second. Again, it has benefit of the 10 and the 11. I think the 9 has it too. Is that the front screen shows you what you're looking at, so you can see your face in it, where the 8 did not. Now, when we were on the Princess Cruise in May of last year, only thing they were selling were the 8, and they had a class on the GoPro, and I basically had to take it over, and because the people trying to sell it just here, buy a GoPro, you can do a lot with it, but we found out that they didn't really understand how to operate that, and it does take a long time to do that. And you know, I shot, you can see he shoots everything in 4K. I did 5K, 5.3, and I think I'll step out of that and go back to a 4K videoing on here, because on the back here, when you look at it, I know it's going to be very hard to see, but you have different filming techniques you can use, and I got right set up at 5.3 at 30 frames per minute. And if I select it, I can choose standard, linear, activity, cinematic, ultra slow motion, and the basic 1080 60 frames per minute. Now, and then the slow-mo is at 2.7K, so that's even and a little bit wider angle on it. My last videos I shot at this 5.3K, and it shoots really well. The problem is my computer has a hard time handling it. So when you start editing, it has a hard time. And yeah, I'm just reading a couple of comments. Always make sure that video stabilization. Yes, Z-Man, GoPro are proven. You pay more, but you get better camera than the Chinese. Yes, and we bought a small square 380 Chinese mark off, and it's pretty cheap. The problem is the video quality and the sound quality isn't there. When you listen to my videos, most of that video that you're hearing comes directly from this media mod you can buy with it that you hook into that, and there's a nice microphone that's on it that is kind of surrounded by a foam piece. They're sending me a new foam piece because they replaced this for me this week, but they forgot to send the foam piece, and it makes a good windbreak on it. And how you doing, Destination Fun, Sherry? So it has pretty good sound. So if you're just videoing around, the problem is that it may sound really good coming towards the GoPro. It's a little bit muffled in the back, and that's why Sparkio is trying to teach me to use a lapel mic or a recorder I can use on that. I'll go over that in other weeks, or maybe have Sparkio talk about that to us and explain some of the better ways of getting some sound to your trips. Webcam. What? Wait a second, Crystal. Webcam. I don't know what you meant by that.
Turn on your webcam view. Nobody can see you're tiny.
Oh, sorry. Someone told me a little ear came in and said I need to be in this view when I'm actually showing the cameras. And you're absolutely right. I need to do that. What I'm seeing, I wasn't seeing what you guys are seeing. So I apologize on that. So what I was going to go to, and I was talking about these different levels you can have on the back here, just to make some things clear to you guys. If you don't know, I know a lot of people do know it. Let's see if we can focus in. It says 5K right here, and that just changes. I can change it back to 4K linear. And what linear just means, you have the fisheye look a lot of people see with the GoPro, and that's under the standard look. And so you can go linear and it'll straighten out the lines. So you're like, for example, this picture will look straight instead of being curved a little bit. When you see my San Juan videos, those have a little bit of a fisheye look to them. Because a lot of it I dealt with, I photograph on more of a wide angle look so we can get more view of it. So it wasn't as straight. So as it straightens up, it actually shrinks down your window or your field that you have within that GoPro. Fearless, can you go back to the big screen of yourself? Thank you. Yeah, someone had come through the door and yell at me, "You're not doing that." I go, "Yeah, I better go do that." Yeah, and again, I probably take 90% of my videos using the GoPro itself, and I do switch back and forth, and I think it puts out a pretty good outdoor film. Now, let's talk about indoor a little bit. There are some lights you can buy with it that you can just hook as a shoe on top for the 10 and the mod, so you can put a light and get a little bit of light on you. But this light isn't very good. I just bought another one that was suggested by Sparkio, and he suggested one to me, and I bought it, and I didn't bring it in here. I was going to, but I misplaced it this morning. It changes colors and stuff, and it's just a bigger light that can fit on top right here. So does anybody use a light with their GoPro? So I'm reading Cruise Nuts. Everyone editing GoPro only seems complex. Just go to YouTube and type in how to set up your GoPro and watch the videos. Yeah, just like you learn anything here, such as software or whatever, there's always an expert out there. I just was going to do a little concept here to say this is what I use and why I use it. So one of the reasons why I use it is just because of this one device right here, that it's easy to turn on and off, and I can walk with it fairly easily, and the GoPro is extremely light. You always see these vloggers that have, their Canon on there, and then they have the big old microphone on there, and then a huge light over here, and they're walking around. I tried that with a gimbal, and my hands were just getting tired of filming. Maybe I just shouldn't film as much as I do, but I get tired of just holding that there and just walking around. Where I found the GoPro, I can carry it, all day long with no problems. I can also find that if I just want to jump in and go, I can just grab this one here, stick it in my pocket, a couple extra batteries, and I'm good to go for a couple hours. And I might have to hold it like this when I'm videoing, but it's really light, and I can just throw it in my pocket. The other day, I went to Kolob Canyon, and I did a hike there in the snow, and I did use the GoPro 10 to do the hike. I had the GoPro 8 doing some slow-mo with it, but they aren't indestructible. I did fall, the snow, I slipped, fell, and I snapped this little piece off right here. I called up GoPro, and I bought another one. They're like $129, but then I called up GoPro and says, oh no, we have no problem replacing that. So I sent it back in. They sent me this new one this week and replaced it where it broke. So the warranty you get on these GoPros compared to the Chinese make are a lot better. And they also replaced this module this week because I wore it out. It has a little flapper on here to kind of make it more water resistant, and that just wore out. And they just sent me a new one. Now I had to send back the old one, but they sent me a new one saying, here you go, now go give that a shot. See, it says, Fearless, we love that you set up on your GoPro. I don't. Oh, no, I want you guys to talk about this. This is open discussion. It has nothing to do. If you have more suggestions for me or more suggestions for anybody that's thinking about getting a GoPro and why to use one, I got this idea because Eddie was talking about it. Should he go with it? I think Z-Man, he also talked about it in one of his live shows. So I thought, why don't I just talk about what I do with it? Yes, it's not as bad as 20 minutes. It can go quite a bit longer. It depends what, if it's in your pocket or not. They do heat up. That is one of the disadvantages of these. They do heat up. Again, why do they heat up? Well, they put a processor in there, and they call it a sensor, what allows you to do higher K resolution for such a small box. And of course, when you cram something that's very powerful in a small box, you're going to get heat out of it. It's just like your laptop versus your tabletop computer. Your tabletop can handle a lot bigger boards in there, more power than your laptop, because your laptop can overheat. Well, that's what's going to happen here with the GoPros. They do get hot. Okay, I have two of them, so I can turn one off and grab the other one. But I really haven't had that much problems. When it does overheat, okay, what you have to do, I'll just tell you right now, you have to pop it out, click it up, blow it a little bit. You don't have to blow it, but cool it down a little bit. Pop your battery out, put your battery back in, and then it's ready to take video again, even though it's steaming hot. Yeah, it's those cases that mod is $79. I think that mod's $79. So it's not extremely cheap, Sparkio, and certainly this is $129. And I did buy me another because I use it so much. I just went ahead and got an Amazon, got next day's service on getting another one here. But then I sent this one in about 2 weeks. I got this one back, so now I got two. That's how it goes. Let's see. Now, let me explain a couple things else to you. I like I said, I only want to spend about half hour on these little Monday night things. I want to do them on Monday nights. Does Monday nights help think it's opened up? You guys are in the same community I am. Is that a good time to have some discussions like this? Or is there another night that would seem to be better? I picked Monday because I didn't see a whole lot of live shows going on at this particular time. So tell me if it's good or not. I don't have like tons of people here. But again, this is my first one that is talking about a few things here. Let me go to one more thing here. I'm going to go to not a PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint. I just want to talk about a few things here. Okay, this is kind of confusing because when you buy a small camera, I know this is a big screen on me, but when you buy a camera like this, it's going to ask you what frames per second do you want to use. In the GoPro, you can do 30 and 60 frames per minute or per second. So what does that mean? Well, if you're watching a movie or something like that, they use 24 frames per second. What the difference is that it's going to take more memory when you go a little higher, but it's going to give you maybe if you're doing a lot of action, a little smoother action through if you're doing bicycle riding or something like that. But you can use 30 frames per minute on the GoPro, and that's going to be fine for you. So it also deals, I don't know if you all can read this, but it deals with also what does it mean by 4K, 2K, 4K, 5K. So when you're looking at that, usually 725 Eastern time. Okay, 725 here is about 5:30 Mountain Time. Have luggage with travel this week on. I'm guessing. Okay, yeah, it's good to know when. I'm just trying to set a place I don't interrupt anybody else, because I have respect for them. Plus, I always go to their shows and watch them. So this is about the least time I found I could jump in here. So if you look at this, when you're doing your videos, you have to look and saying how much quality you want, how clear do I want this showing on there. Now, if someone's going to watch this on large screen TV, 4K is probably what you want a video in. 5K, only thing it does for you, it widens that window that's there, but you're going to crop it anyway to about a 4K crop on size there, and so you probably end up cropping it to the it's going to be 8K, the 380/40 to 2160 on here. The other thing you can do, let me pop back to my come on, you can do it. Okay. The other thing, a lot of people do shorts. So you have to you video like this on shorts, and it still is going to be under 4K. The 3840 2160, but what you do is in your editor you'll have to edit it back down to what YouTube allows, and that's going to be down what they call at 2K, or they're going to deal with it at, if you notice on here, I'm just going to read it, the 920 by 1080, and on your software when you set up your screen you're going to set up as 1080 by 1920, and that will give you the proper size for your short. And that's any of the softwares I've used. And if you have want me to talk about how to set that up on any of your editing softwares, I'll be happy to talk to you about it on our own. Just call me up and I'll work on that. So 1080 is good maybe for your the phone and stuff, what shorts are dealt with. Then you go to the 4K, you're looking more at larger screens and giving it a little more clarity. But you should never film anything less than 1080 anytime. So 1080 is probably the minimum nowadays for YouTubing. Now I did some YouTubing on the Waste of the Sea at 1080, and I don't put it as full videos anymore because I want it to be a little more crisp on there. Yeah, we love shooting everything at 4K, and I think I would stay at 4K and instead of using that 5.3K. And the difference is not the window size, because if you just go 5K, it shrinks it down to a 3 to 2 ratio, and the 8:7 ratio, you can do 5K or you can do 4K, and it's going to be the same. Guessing you're okay. Okay. Yeah. So just a little thought here. Maybe one more issue here. Maybe I want to talk about. Some people don't understand what megapixels are, and that's basically how clear the picture is going to be. 1 million pixels represents how much resolution you might have. For example, if your camera is doing an 8 megapixel resolution, that's 8 million tiny squares of information in 1 square inch of screen. So the more you have in megapixels, the higher you have in resolution for the screen, the computer screen, or the TV and someone might be watching it on. So the 4K is running at 12 megapixel, what's great. You have a 4.3 or 8 megapixels, in which probably Cruise Nuts and I film at for the 16:9 ratio. You can correct me, Cruise Nuts, on that, but it's 8 megapixels is quite clear. If you go to that 5.3, notice it goes up to 15.8. If you switch that on your GoPro, it's going to give you a lot more megapixels, but then your computer has to handle it. And that's some of the problem I'm having. I have a very powerful computer, and it's too sluggish or kind of jerks a little bit when it's rendering. It's the rendering. And I found out the rendering, if I'm doing 4K, will render maybe about 20 minutes for a 10-minute film. And if I'm doing 5K, it takes almost an hour, hour and a half to do it. So my rendering time just shoots up. Yeah, Sparkio's right. Always upload the 1440p, even if you are recording 1080 for upcover. Can you pronounce it? YouTube will use a higher quality encoder. Yeah, and we can talk about encoders later. I think I should bring Sparkio on here one night and just talk about how YouTube accepts these videos on here. Now I'm about running out of time today. I just want to spend a half hour with you. Thank you for giving that the okay, Cruise Nuts. Yeah, I appreciate that. And if you can talk about it on your life too, and help people out. And this whole session, I just help you guys understanding about the GoPro and that I love using it. I just use it all the time. I'm going to tell you one disadvantage that I have with it. There's two major disadvantages. Eddie's already talked about one. They do get warm and hot over long periods of time. Not so much when you're doing slow-mo or something like that. That's okay. But if you have it on for long periods of time, it will overheat. The other one, if I'm doing, like if I'm eating food or something, it's going to be a little bit more grainy because the light's not there. Because the lens, we can talk about that later, the lens itself, you know, is small. So the light coming into the lens is quite low. Where your Sony or your Canon will pick that up a lot better if you're doing a food vlog or food video. But you can watch one of mine. You can see the quality I have on the ship. It's just okay. I probably do need to switch over and buy a different camera to show the food vlogs. Thank you for giving me that support, Cruise Nuts. I appreciate it, Mike. It's something I want to just help people out with, you know. And people can talk about cruises all the time. I can talk about cruises. We're going one in about a month now and just got off one. But I just rather tell my opinion on other people's lives. You know, this should be a travel vlog where people talk about their travel and what you can do to maybe help yourselves become better vloggers, for one thing. I need help all the time, and believe me, I get that from my kids. So thank you. Okay, well, I think I'm out of time. I got 1 minute. Any final questions today? I can cover this more in a little more detail. I just want to do a quick overview, and that's all I was planning to do tonight. I appreciate each one of you for joining me tonight, and I hope you guys have a great evening. Any last words? Okay. Thanks for all the good comments, and that's what it's for. If you have better knowledge, feel free to jump in and talk to us. Once I can pull other people up in here, I'm using OBS and software, and I know a lot of people use StreamYard, so I use this as, my daughter thinks this is a little bit more powerful software, and it's 100% free, and I can use as many hours I want. So I'm trying to learn this, and this is the one I probably will use. Okay, guys, have a good evening, and I appreciate one. Thank you very much. Hey, thanks, Alice. Have a great evening. Can't wait for the next Eddie's video. I just watched his last one. And you were smiling quite nice, and Tony was on there. Oh, yeah. Did you get my comment there, Eddie, about you running into Tony? Did it hurt him pretty bad? Just joking. Okay. Good night.